professor will give you battle ready to take your competition down. I hear the bell. Let's get to class.
Welcome again to Fantasy University. He's the professor. I'm NOSTER. And today we are going to be focusing on AFC quarterbacks. The first thing that everybody needs to know about AFC quarterbacks, you have Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. If you get one of those two, you're happy. They're the best out there of this lot. But we're here to talk to all the guys who don't get those two quarterbacks, because there will be more people who don't have them than do. And I'd like the professor to start off by telling us that if you don't get these top two quarterbacks, who do you need to target as somebody to draft in this particular group?
Well, the way I look at it, if you don't get one of them, then you might as well quit. No, I'm just kidding. I like Matt Swallow. I really like the hookup with Andre Johnson is, I mean, it's just incredible. He is definitely an up-and-comer, and I don't think he's reached his peak yet. I really like Swallow. A guy that could be a little bit of a dark horse. He's a great talent, but he hasn't really performed the last 3 years, is Carson Palmer. And the reason I say Carson Palmer is because of his young tight end. Look this preseason to see how he's progressing, and if Grissom is looking like the real deal, a tight end is a quarterback's just best friend. Thank you. His best friend, and the Bengals haven't had a best friend for Carson Palmer in quite some time. So I look for him, depending on Grissom, to really.
I like that theory, and I totally agree with it, because history has shown teams with good tight ends have more balanced offense and tend to give their quarterback an out. When things break down, a tight end, especially a good one, can make up for a multitude of sins. And I do like those two a lot. I do not think they're reaches. I think you could really target them very well.
Well, Noster, you are the NOS, and you are great at predicting. And could you give us some insight of what your sleeper AFC quarterbacks will be this year?
Be happy to. Now, a sleeper is somebody who, in my opinion, if you have a backup quarterback and he's somebody who has the potential to do good enough to where you can be comfortable trading your number one quarterback to upgrade another position, because this guy can step right in. I got two guys I really like. The one I like the best is Jason Campbell. He's going to a new team, but for him, he's been going to a new team for the last 4 years, because they've had a different offensive system, so whichever one he's going to, he's probably already done. And we do know the Raiders like the vertical passing game, and he does have a good, strong arm. He has 2 or 3 really good, fast receivers. Hayward Bay, this guy named Murphy, got him. And I think that if you look at what the Raiders did, they're not a bad team, but when they went from Jamarcus Russell into Bruce Gradkowski, they improved tremendously. And I think Jason Campbell is as far above Gradkowski as he was above Russell. So I really look for them to do a lot better in that area. And my other sleeper is Chad Henne of the Dolphins, because you get a good stud wide receiver, and that can make everybody around you better, and we all know that Brandon Marshall is the real deal.
Oh, most definitely. I agree wholeheartedly on Chad Henne. Jason Campbell, I think he will be an improvement, which anything can be an improvement in the Raiders offense, but I also think it will help the Raiders defense due to the fact that they won't have so many 3-and-outs, and being putting a lot more pressure on the Raiders defense, which all in all, I think Jason Campbell will be an excellent addition to the Raiders.
Well, Professor, it's time to take some of these guys to class. You mind passing out a few grades on some of these guys?
Sure.
Do you want to call out the names, or you want me to give you a name and you grade them?
You can give me a name either way you want to do.
Okay, let's see. How about this name here? Jake Delholm with the Browns.
Well, I'm sorry, Jake. I mean, you couldn't cut it in Carolina, and you had Steve Smith. So what are you going to do in Cleveland? You're going to be on your back quite often, and probably on the injured reserve before midseason. I really don't like his situation, not so much him as a quarterback, but the situation in Cleveland. I'll give him a D plus and a D plus instead of an F because he's going to try.
Vince Young, Tennessee Titans.
Vince Young, it really showed me something last year. He really came through. He seems to be starting to become a leader. He seems like his whole mental output has changed. I would say because of the fact that their wide receivers are decent, but not no one in the all-star caliber. I would say a C plus, but that could change.
I like them a little better than that, but that's good. David Garrard, Jacksonville Jaguars. That'll be our last one today.
I'm sorry, but Garrard, I just don't think he has what it takes to be a starting quarterback. Plus, he doesn't have the weapons. And plus, Jacksonville likes to run more than pass. I would stay away from Gerard. I say a D.
Yeah, I've changed my mind. One more, because I really like this name. We'll see what you think. Joe Flacco, Baltimore.
I really like Joe Flacco. I think now with the addition of Anquan Bolton, it's really good because the guy was doing it last year with Derek Mason. So what's he going to do with a guy like Bolton? I'd say B plus to an A minus for Joe Flacco.
I like him that much too. If you have any questions, you can email us at fantasyuniversity00@yahoo.com. For the professor, I'm Noster. See you on the next podcast.
Have a good day and a better tomorrow.